Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining me today for today's live. Whether you are checking in on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, or even YouTube, if you're watching this live, put live into the chat because I would love to interact with every one of you. But of course, I want to acknowledge you. Thank you for joining me on this Friday because, of course, you could be doing something else at this lunchtime if you're in the UK or if you're in Asia, because a lot of you watch from Asia, you're having your dinner, and even if some of you are in America, that you'll be having your breakfast right now. So thank you so much for checking in with me today. So you're probably wondering what we're going to be talking about today, and in the headline it says, what role does a growth mindset play in building effective relationships and leadership skills? And this is a fantastic question because I get this all the time because people always are thinking, I want to grow, I want to grow, but I don't really know how it's going to change my relationships with my loved ones or even my relationships with my work colleagues. But more importantly, if you have a business, a lot of people don't know how it's going to change me or improve me in my leadership skills. And how do I lead my team to success? How do I lead my family to success? It's all about leadership here. But the thing is, before I go into that, I want just to let you know in terms of when people don't have a growth mindset, this is what tends to happen. Because they don't want to grow, they just want to stay, they want to plateau in life, right? They just want to say, oh yeah, I'm just taking it easy. But actually, remember in life, nothing plateaus. Everything in life is very much like a plant. It's either you're growing or you are dying. Plants don't plateau. And this is the thing when people are thinking, I don't want to grow, I just want to plateau, they're actually dying. And when they're dying to themselves, by the way, they're not improving themselves, they just be comfortable in what they already know, then actually whatever they have doesn't improve, but if not, it gets worse. Because not only when they die, everyone around them start dying with them as well. Because these are the traits that actually happen when people actually die. They don't have the thinking of, what's the next thing? What's the next thing I need to learn? What's the next thing I need to grow to improve me, to improve the people that I love, also the people that I want to serve as well? What is the next thing of learning or growing my communication? What's the next thing of how to grow my leadership skills? What's the next thing in terms of how I can build my systems or my businesses and that? We're not thinking of that. This is what tends to happen. They get lazy. And when they get lazy, like, oh, I'm not going to do much. I'm going to push myself. And guess what? It's actually called laziness. It's another word for wasting time. Because remember, time always runs out. You keep withdrawing from the bank of time, and they're maybe just on their phone all the time, watching YouTube all the time. They just become consumers rather than actually creators. They're not creating opportunities to change people's lives, not creating opportunities to change their own life. They actually start consuming, I call it the rubbish, in the world and society right now, which ultimately destroys them. But the thing is that when they are not growing as well, not only do they get lazy, they waste time. They waste their resources. They waste their resources, and then they also waste their energy. And because they're not growing as well, what tends to happen is that they get drained. They're losing in every respect. They're losing money, they're losing energy, they're losing resources because things aren't actually improving their lives. So actually everything in their life becomes a liability and not an asset. Nothing's actually generating more wealth for them or generating more energy for them or generating more happiness. It's actually draining all of their energy. And this is the problem when people are actually not growing. Because when that happens, guess what happens? They start to complain. They're complaining about why it's happening to me. I'm like, yeah, it's happening to you because you're not growing. You're not actually taking the action to grow because no one can actually grow for you. And then when they're not growing, because they're complaining, then they start justifying, but it's not my fault. It's because blame. They did that to me, or I didn't have enough time. They're blaming. And of course, then they deny. Oh no, it's nothing to do with me. I can't take responsibility for my own life. But those are the sequences of what people go through when they actually don't want to grow. And then they get sucked into just death and destruction. Because it's everyone's responsibility to grow in every area of their lives because no one can do it for you. No one can be happy for you. No one can be successful for you. Nobody can actually win for you. You have to win. Yeah, even if you were, I call it the lucky donor, right? You were born into a wealthy family. Does it mean you don't grow? Absolutely not. This is why when people win the lottery, give them a load of money, guess what? They don't know how to manage it, they lose it, and they become broke within a few years. Because people need to grow, they need to learn. Learning then actually helps that person to earn money, earn more energy, earn more respect, earn more success, right? There has to be learning. And we need to make sure that we are learning all the time. So let me go through the three tips that I believe that the growth mindset actually plays an important role in when building relationships for yourself and actually your leadership skills as well. So the first thing is, number one, is when you're growing with people around you, you have something called alignment. You are aligned to then succeed. Because you already know each one of you all have the same goal. I want to, get $1 million a year. I want to have an incredible relationship with my spouse. I want to be the best husband or wife. I want to be the best father or mother. I want to have the best physique. I want to have a six-pack. Whatever group you're in, whether it's health, wealth, or relationships, you'll be aligned in terms of what you want to achieve. But this is the thing, that you must be in that group, because if you're not in a group, guess what? You are by yourself, and then you're aligned to no one. And then just think about it. If you had to go to the gym and you kind of thought, oh yeah, I don't need to see a trainer, I just need to go by myself. What happens is sometimes you get lazy. You slacken off. You know, oh, it's okay, I only missed one, I won't miss another one. Well, what happens is they miss 2, then 3, then 4 sessions, then 5 sessions, then they stop going completely. Because they were never aligned. They were never actually in a supportive group that helps them grow. Because if you're not in a group that helps you grow, you're going to die anyway. You have to be surrounded by like-minded people. Because remember, the people you surround yourself, you will just become. So make sure you are either at least surrounded by people that have the same mindset as you, the same values as you, but if you can, people that are more successful than you. Because if you're surrounded by millionaires, guess what you'll become? A millionaire. So make sure you're surrounded by the right people. The second thing that's really important about growth mindset and how it helps relationships and leadership skills is this. It makes it a competition. And I don't care who says this, but everyone says, oh, I'm not competitive, I'm not competitive. Every person is competitive, because just think about it. How many people really like losing? No one likes losing. And that's why everyone has a competitive side in them, whether it is to win themselves or win against other people or win against the competitor. They want to compete. Because you know why people like competition is because they want to actually grade themselves in terms of where they are in life. Grade themselves and compare themselves to where they are, where other people, in terms of like what their business is like, how much money they're making, what their relationship is like, what their physique is like. That's why they like to compete. Because without competition, people don't really push themselves hard enough. So if I said to you, for example, you're going to go into a boxing ring, right? It's a competition. You're either going to win on points or you're going to win on knockout. And if you know you're going to a boxing ring, you're going to fight in 4 weeks or 8 weeks, however long it is, are you going to prepare yourself or not? Right? Because if you don't prepare yourself, the worst case scenario is that you'll be knocked out and it'll hurt. And there'll be health consequences later. But because it's a competition, each competitor will be training very hard to make sure that knockout doesn't happen. And that's why competition, there's always a degree of risk. But as people that are growing, we mitigate those risks. We reduce that risk because we know we're going to operate our best no matter what. So that's number 2, competition. And the third thing about having a growth mindset, why it's important in leadership, is this. It gives encouragement to your team. It gives love to your team. Because I want to ask you a simple question. How many of you have worked with a boss that you didn't like? Yeah? But yes, if you work with a boss you don't like. Because, now let me know, how did it make you feel? It was awful, right? Because that boss definitely did not want you to grow. And because they didn't want you to grow, guess what they did? They kept on shouting at you, they kept on putting pressure on you, and then they made your life a misery, and they always made each day joy for themselves, but a misery for you. That's a boss. Because the whole intention of a boss is to make you feel this big. It's not to grow you, it's to destroy you. That's what bosses do. But if you want to be an incredible leader, a leader is the person that steps up to the front and says, I'm the leader, I'm the role model, I will do it first for you to then follow. That's a leader. They lead by example so that when the rest of the team come and follow, they think, oh yeah, he's done it. He stepped up. He didn't send us first to watch us suffer. He did it, or she did it. It's becoming a leader. And the great thing about leadership is this, because a leader's actually already done what they're asking team members to do, they actually allow them to grow. They'll just say, hey, watch out for these mistakes because I made those mistakes and I don't want you to suffer. Because a true leader is one that helps people grow. And if you have a growth mindset as the leader, you will help them grow too. Because your team will always be part of improving your mission, your business, your coaching, if they are aligned with your teaching and leadership skills. So this is why it's so important to have a growth mindset, because you need to be the role model. You need to be the person that steps up. You step up and say, look, this is me, and this is what I want to achieve, and this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to bring everyone with me and help them grow too. Because a leader does the heavy lifting, because deep inside they have the energy and the passion to help people. So I hope that this live has actually been inspiring for many of you. Let me know in the chat what your greatest learnings are, but more importantly, what is the first thing you need to do? Right? You're either going to find your support group, you're either going to be the example, or you're either going to find a leader so that then you can lead your team. So that's finding a coach or a mentor. But whoever that is, make sure you're aligned with them and you have the same connection and mission and the same values as that coach. Because a lot of people, when they say, Michael, I like being coached by you just because you're very honest. And sometimes, yes, you may be a bit too honest, but I know you say it out of love. But also, I allow people to grow and make mistakes. And it's about me creating that environment. But ultimately, there's some people who says, actually, I don't need to be coached that way, Michael. I just need someone to kick me up the ass and just tell me off all the time. And if that's you, that's not my coaching style. But what I would say is find out your own coaching style, what you need to push you to the next level, and then find the right leader and then the right support group as well, and then make it competitive so that you actually encourage each other to grow to the next level. So thank you so much for joining me today live on today's Friday. And if you have any comments or questions, put them into the chat. And I look forward to seeing many of you next Friday. Have a great weekend. Bye for now.